everybody. Hey, what's up, Mr. Abel? I'm super excited today. I got a personal friend here, your personal friend also. But
yeah, I love that guy too.
But he's a pretty amazing guy with a great story, and I love him to death. AJ Jolivette.
Yeah. What's up, Mr. AJ?
Black, purple.
So, if you guys are wondering, he has 3 computers up.
2.
1 in his brain, 2 there. He has that chip that Elon Musk was working on. And he's going to be doing some work while he's working with us. And that's okay because he helps a lot of people through those 2 computers there.
Yeah, man. This guy is... So when I first met him, I knew him as just a martial artist kind of guy on the mat who was like, hey, man, this guy's intimidating looking. When I first met him, I was like, oh, man, this guy... I'll have to go beat him up or something, you know?
You did beat me up.
And I did. No.
You guys can't see it, but on this side of his polo, it actually says Enforcer there. And when I came to sign up to Krav Maga, he's the one that greeted me at the door. And, I understood the message.
That's not the case.
Hey, you know what? You know what's funny is when he first started, I could tell he was a tough guy, but he liked to jump around like a kangaroo.
Dude, have you seen this guy flip?
Well, no. I'm not talking like that. I'm talking when he would spar, man. He would go off his feet and like do this weird bounce, and I'd be like, oh man, I want to spar this guy. This guy looks like some fun right here. And then I got to know him, and I was like, hey man, you need to settle down and become your own fighter. Right now, you're trying to do too many things, you know. And now, dude, I step on the mat with him, I don't have a chance. The guy is amazing.
Yeah, sparring is not fun with him anymore.
It's not.
It's not, man. I'm just gonna tell you. The last two times that I sparred with him, I told Ryan, I go, hey dude, do you ever walk away with a headache after you spar AJ? We all started laughing. Dude, and listen, he's a teddy bear. The issue is that if you look at his hands, they're like 2 lunch pails, dude. And,
lunch pails. And
even if he's trying to hold those back, they still hurt.
I don't know about lunch pails, dude. I'm talking more like sledgehammers, dude.
Oh yeah, man.
That's not the case. But I will say, Sensei, when you and Stan called me out on the bouncing, and I got that from when I was a kid. You guys may not know that, but my nickname is Rabbit. And that's the reason why, by the way. But anyway, so when you guys called me out on that, and actually you and Stan pulled me to the side and got it out of my system, then that changed everything. The bouncing around is not an efficient way of fighting.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous now.
It's very dangerous. How's the training going, by the way? I see a little limp in your walk. And
yeah, I was playing basketball with my girlfriend, and she posted me up like I was a punk, which was good. It was very exciting. But somewhere along the line of her breaking my ankles, I hurt my Achilles, so it's a little sore. But it was still a good time.
Yeah, I bet, man. So what's new around the school before we move on and get into
school
this?
we're still all focused on the testing. We got some clinics coming up. Those are for adults and for kids. We're gonna get everybody that's missed some of the classes due to this upside down world that we're in with COVID. Get everybody up to speed with the clinics. We're doing 2 clinics for adults, 2 clinics for kids, and those are free. And we're just doing it so that everybody knows the curriculum and is up to date with everything going on. And just to kind of light a fire under everybody, to remind them that pre-testing and testing is coming up. So It's all hands on deck with that. All hands on deck with that. All the instructors will be there Monday and Saturday. And we're going to make sure that we're working close with our members.
Cool.
Yep.
So for those of you who don't know, we got a bona fide celebrity in here. He's literally...
Is he showing up soon, or?
He's literally bona fide, man. Nah. This guy's been on many shows, so he's honoring us today because he's our buddy. So
yeah, he's definitely doing a pro bono today because
we're like the starter class
that
he comes in.
This. You guys already warned me that you're going to give me such a hard time. It's fine. I'm just gonna let you roll with it.
So if you guys don't know and you want to see, and you're like, you know what, that guy looks familiar. Where have I seen that face from? So there's different podcasts to be on. You want to name some of these podcasts that you've been on?
I haven't been on any podcasts, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow. Some big ones, man. Some big ones.
Yeah, some really.
Hey, let's put it this way: you Google me and you get a bunch of crappy little photos that I put it on Instagram.
Hey, you Google me, I don't even come up.
And oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Sad.
But you Google AJ and it's like a whole list,
yeah.
man. A whole
pictures
list.
with celebrities.
Yeah.
And it's not like those celebrity pictures where you went to go to a signing or something. It's like people that he's hanging out with.
Dude, he does such cool stuff. Yeah. I'm a big admirer. I got a man crush. He's definitely one of them, for sure.
That's funny.
He's also a Marine.
Yeah.
Lots of training, extensive training.
That one now follows. That one's the case. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
That's
yes,
right.
Sir.
Yep.
Little story. Like I said, I first met you on the mat, and I didn't know anything about AJ. Nothing. And I was like, man, this guy's intimidating. He walks with confidence. And I was like, man, who is this guy? So I didn't really get to know you when you first started because you started and then left. And so then when you came back is when I got to really actually know you. But by that time, he just became this dude on the mat, And
how did you get started in Krav?
So,
Krav of all things.
Me and Master D had a mutual friend. His name is Doug Jackson. Doug Jackson and his wife Jean Jackson were my first managed client with my company Soho.
Put that a little bit closer to.
With my company Soho.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So Doug and Jean. Anyway, so I got the DOD found me, which it couldn't have been hard because they knew right where I was. They wanted to send me to Iraq with the Department of Defense to rebuild the fiber optics backbone for the military and for the country. So, but they told me, that I'd be going in as a civilian, of course, and they wouldn't be giving me a weapon. Oh, I'm a Marine. I said, well, that's kind of how I function.
That's kind of an issue.
So I said, well, then I need something else. And when I was having this discussion with Doug said, oh, I know you should do this, Krav Maga. And I said, okay, what's that? And then he said, well, I'm going to take you to Bo. So then me and Bo started doing private lessons. And Bo trained me what he felt I needed in country. So I kind of got trained backwards at first, right? I got trained gun defense, hostage, all this stuff. And Bo was not a joke. He put the gun directly in my face, and if I didn't get it off, I got shot in the face.
Do you remember walking into the studio and then they'd be training? Like, I didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
I would see you training in private with him all the time, but I didn't know who you were.
Yeah, we did it for years.
Yeah.
So then that's when you saw me right before I left
Yeah.
Sensei. So then that's when I was gone. So then after I trained up a bit, I got shipped off to Iraq.
So you did go after all to go do that job?
Yeah, I did. I was in country for a while. And
It's nuts, dude.
Didn't accomplish much, because it was a ridiculous place. But just to the point, that's how I started doing Krav Maga, and then I never stopped. When I came back, and finished up cleaning up all the stuff that I had to take care of after I come back from Iraq, then I got back into it, and then I started eventually belting.
That's really
Sweet.
cool. Yeah.
I want to know though. See, I know some of these stories. I want to know, like, where are you from? Where did little AJ grow up at? What's his background? Because I kind of know where he's from, but I want people to know that, like, you started in the South, dirty South,
Yeah, the dirty South.
Were you ever little? Like, or were you just always this size?
Yeah, most people start off as baby. I wasn't created in the lab, so.
Oh, okay. All right, I just want to clarify. He's not created in the lab.
Yeah, I'm not created in the lab.
Thank you for answering that right up front.
No sweat. So, I am from New Orleans, Louisiana. Born and raised, mostly, anyway. So, born right there in Charity Hospital to Albertha and Alvin Jolivette.
I love your mom, by the way.
Thank you.
She's
I love her
cool.
as well.
Yeah, she's cool.
Pretty cool. My mom's a firecracker.
Yeah.
So that's where I was born, except I didn't come up in New Orleans only. So I grew up in two places. I grew up in California and New Orleans, and I kind of got moved back and forth. So I remember starting kindergarten, my mom, we had just got back to New Orleans from, I think, California, and she was rushing me. I still remember being rushed to make it to registration to start the first day of school from California. Wow. Then when I got to third grade, I was back in California, and I was in California from third to fourth.
So was Mama living in California?
I was always with my mom.
Got it.
So my mom would go from California to New Orleans, and then she would always take the kids. So then I was in California again from third to fourth, and then back in New Orleans from fifth to.
Oh man, that's got to be tough. Was that okay with you? That was.
That's culture shock a little bit.
Yeah, because California. I mean, it's just very different worlds, man.
I guess I didn't really care that much until after sixth.
Got it.
Because in
that makes
That makes
sense.
sense. Yeah, it does make sense.
but when I was in sixth grade, then all of a sudden I'm back in California for eighth, ninth, 10th.
That's kind of a big deal.
And then half a 10th,
Huge.
I was back in New Orleans.
Is this the reason why there's no accent? I never pick up an accent with you.
So that's because I'm talking to you guys and I'm in California.
Oh, really?
But if I go home or I talk to my cousins, then the southern accent comes out. Most people actually can catch it because certain words I can't say correctly, and I'll say certain southern type things. Like, like when I catch it's in front of you. So this is in front of you. And it's like, what in front? What's that mean? So it's in front of you. It's right there.
Oh, right. I didn't even understand what you were saying right now.
Is that right? Yeah. Well,
I caught it.
I did it. That's funny.
Jeez.
yeah, but so that's where the accent went away because I spent enough time in California as a kid. At least I think it went away.
Well, you have an accent over there, though. You have a California accent.
No,
No? Don't work that way?
not much of one. When I go home, give it 15 minutes.
I believe it. Yeah. I get
That's
it.
so cool.
I get it.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, 15 minutes and it's done.
That's cool, man.
I like to blend. Since I'm from New Orleans, when I go home, which now I do at least once a month, as you know, when we're not in COVID,
Right.
when we can actually travel. But when I'm home, I wear New Orleans clothes. I get the clothes that you get from the Walmart that's there. I blend in. I'm not trying to not look like I'm from there. New Orleans is a dangerous place.
Yeah.
You don't want people don't want to. You don't want to go flossing.
But people know you there, right? I mean, I'm assuming that you have a lot of family there and you have friends there.
But check it out. When he comes to California,
Dude.
it's all about the floss.
For those of you who don't know, when Age is in the building, you know he's in the building.
That's BS. But to your point, I don't wear the clothes that I wear here in New Orleans. It's pointless. No, I wear New Orleans clothes. Driving Ford Equinox.
So, I mean, this might sound a little, like from my behalf, might sound a little ignorant because I've never been, How close to the water, how close to like areas that flooded, where is this at? Like where,
Yeah. So New Orleans as a design, and I don't know who designed it, New Orleans is a fishbowl, and a good portion of the city is under sea level.
Got it.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a bowl, and the levees keep the water out. So when the levees broke, the water then just flowed in. It wasn't the rain that does that. So New Orleans has pumps that pump the water out of the city. So the water goes into the drain, and the city is constantly pumping the water out. And that's the way the city functions. So when the levee broke, the water came in faster than the pumps could pump it out, and then you get a flood. So I have family on the West Bank and the East Bank. So the West Bank, East Bank. So where the Superdome is, where everyone's familiar with the Superdome and the French Quarters, that is considered the East Bank.
Got it.
And then on the other side, obviously, is the West Bank. I'm from Algiers, which is on the West Bank. Right now, my family lives all over. So right now, my place is in Jefferson Parish, which is in a no flood zone. So it's not below sea level.
Got it.
Right. But when you're talking about Katrina and other floods, because I almost got trapped by a freaking tornado, they just know when you're going home and they just coordinate with each other. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, so Katrina took out pretty much everything that could flood.
Wow.
But not everything flooded. And again, it wasn't the rain itself; it was the levee damage. And you may hear debate about that because there's all kind of conspiracy that they blew the levees to let one area flood so another area wouldn't. And whatever, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
So obviously through that, like Katrina and all that, you obviously knew people that were directly affected by that.
Yeah, we were all directly affected. My mom's stuff got flooded. She was able to get out safe. We do have some family members that didn't make it. Everyone does. We have my sister.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear that, AJ.
It's okay. Death is part of life as a jarhead, right? Still sucks. But my sister, so a lot of my family moved and they're still in Texas, right? Because everyone evacuates. So where do you go? So you go to Texas, you go to Atlanta, you just go these directions.
Wherever you need
right?
to, yeah.
And then if you went there and your place was destroyed, then maybe you don't go back. So that's kind of what that. Katrina destroyed what New Orleans used to be. New Orleans has always been the people. More the culture is part of the people and not necessarily just the place. It's come back quite a bit. But it's never going to go back to the way it was when I was a kid.
Wow, that's really interesting. Like you're talking about like dispersing what are you going to come back to if it's not there anymore?
Yeah, it's not there.
Or if you don't have the resources
To rebuild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you hear that all the time too. Other places that have natural disasters. That's how people end up like setting roots in other places.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I'd love to hear that. And one day I'm going to go back with them because I want to go back.
Yeah,
I want to go back
welcome.
with somebody that knows the French Quarter, and I want to go hang out and go to the right places.
So when you say, these things always like come up to my head because I'm so interested in the way neighborhoods do different things, right? Like where I grew up, where you grew up. You said something that kind of stuck in my head, and I want to ask about it. You said that some of those places are not safe. Is it similar to the stuff that you've seen like in LA and maybe some parts of Orange County? Not really much Orange County, but more LA stuff. Or is it? In what way are they not safe?
So you'll hear this complaint from me a lot, and I'll say it over and over again. So I'm pretty consistent, and I am not an economist. I don't know these things as a job, but in my experience, any economy that's based on tourists to maintain their the function of the city require a lot of low-wage workers to do so.
Got it.
And so New Orleans is that way, Hawaii is that way, right? And so they require people to be able to be waiters and hostesses and maitre d's.
Service industry,
yeah. Right? And those jobs don't pay a lot, but there are a lot of them in order for the city to function. So, and in my personal opinion, when you have people that all required to be there and have low wages, then the struggle is consistent across the board. And then that means the wages are low, jobs become, whatever they are, and then people are fighting and struggling amongst each other. And that struggle of fighting for very little, like, so you only have so much here, so then everybody just fighting for that. There's a whole lot more outside of there, but you can't see outside of that, or you can't venture outside of that, so you're just fighting for it. So that type of thing. But then drug culture used to be a pretty big deal. New Orleans is big on gambling right now, and partying. And don't get me wrong, the Big Easy is a big deal.
Gary's already ordering tickets. Hey, come on, man.
Hey, man, as I said, I want to go with AJ. Hang out on
So don't get me wrong, I love my hometown, and a lot of my friends and family who are from there do, but I just can't stay there all the time. But it is beautiful, and the culture is fantastic. Like, you can go to New Orleans. I was just there, and I pointed out to my daughters. I said, just look, even the animals walk slow. You can watch the little cat moseying along. He's not in a hurry. You're coming with the car. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep going, Chief. You're going to have to walk. That's dogs. Everyone's just, everything slows down until it's party time. And
that's not, isn't it? It's just like, it's just like the atmosphere is that way.
Yep. The atmosphere is just,
that's why I love going to Hawaii, because it's so
slow. It's supposed to be slow, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to go there for.
Yeah.
So it slows down, and everyone's relaxed, and everyone's calm until the Saints win or the Saints lose, because it's a party either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then, I've got my family. I got my mom, and I got Top out there. You guys met Top? That's the my Uncle Ferd, who was in the Army, war veteran.
Oh, yeah, definitely on Zoom.
We met him on Zoom.
Definitely.
Vietnam vet. He's just something else. One of the few Black African Americans to get that high in ranking and list.
So a serious question here. So coming from that background, and then going from Louisiana to California, and also probably seeing some of that stuff here in California.
Yeah.
How did you, how are you where you're at today?
Yeah,
you're
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Dude, you are a major businessman. Your hands are in everything. Your brain's in everything. This guy,
So let me put it to you this way. Little AJ, was he like bullied AJ? Or was he like
studious?
The bullier? Or were you a nerd? Or were you like,
No, really,
cool
because at least what you set up so far, right? For the people at home as well. I mean, we're trying to get an image of how it was for you growing up, right? And so far, there's some adversity there, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we weren't really wealthy, but we didn't know that, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
In my opinion, looking back, when I was in New Orleans, I was fairly poor. When I was in California, it seemed like I was rich, and it was completely different. Yeah. I wasn't rich, of course, but in my kid brain, that's what it was like. So to answer your question, when I was really young, I was all about drawing and making paper airplanes and flying them in the classroom. I was supposed to be doing my work, but I was done with my work.
Oh wow!
Right. So I used to finish the work. So I was pretty good at school when I was in grade school. Actually, all through my life, I was pretty good at school. But so when computers came about, Commodore 64, I was in junior high school, and I was all about that. I was all about writing, getting the games, and playing Choplifter with my friends.
Yeah.
And shout out to my cousin Adriel, who actually just passed away from a seizure of all things.
Oh, man.
But him and I used to be together, and he got the first Commodore 64, and we'd go to his house, and so I was all about that life, and I was pretty geeky, nerdy at that point. And then I went to California, and I was the cool kid, right? I was one of the few black kids in the school, and right, so I was cool.
Where in California?
Orange County.
Okay.
Yep, Orange County. So then again, school's never been hard. As a matter of fact, for the most part, it was always too easy.
Yeah.
So it didn't take a lot of effort. So that when I went to different schools moving around, it wasn't difficult for me to catch up or get to where they were. That wasn't hard. It just was annoying. So then I can just continue on. But because of that, there were some gaps in what I learned in school, because one of the gaps, believe it or not, was math. Because New Orleans school system, you might as well just read the book. You'll probably learn more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
New Orleans school systems are horrible. Compared to California, it's a completely different world. Not that California also has the best school system, but in comparison to what New Orleans was, it might as well have been college versus preschool. It's
Light
ridiculous.
years.
Yeah, light years.
Yeah, light years.
So I was a nerd, and then I was a geek boy. I never was a sports guy. Right, I did play basketball for fun with friends, and football for fun. We would play that,
Which
on the
really doesn't make sense to me. Because you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you've seen this guy move out there.
I'm waiting for it. You know, I'm waiting for it. What do you mean?
Dude, I seen you move. How old are you?
I'm 48.
48. This guy moves like he's a 20-year-old, man.
I agree. He's definitely got and he built like
I was really
an athlete.
I was
for
really
sure.
expecting him to say, like, I did my homework. He's a brain, dude. I mean, we all know that, how smart you are. But I really thought that maybe as you were growing up, you were involved with, like, your drawing, all that stuff, because I always see you drawing and stuff. So I kind of had a glimpse of that. But I really expected you to say, like, I was involved in sports, because you're so dang athletic now.
So I was the opposite, because, and I don't mean that in any way. I coached a lot and whatever. And I saw, when I personally got to know you, I was like, this guy, he didn't do sports. He didn't have time for that. His brain was more active than his body probably at that point.
Yeah, I didn't do sports.
Yeah. Not saying that you couldn't have and whatever, but I got that feeling. Like, you can tell a kid when they get growing up, a kid who's physical and not necessarily developed there yet, because they're athletic and they become these big stars in their communities and whatever. But I didn't get that feeling.
Yeah, no, it's correct.
But
I didn't.
That's just because I've been around athletes.
Did the Marines do that? Like, what?
So I was always athletic. Don't get me wrong. We played basketball and football, and we did all that stuff all the time outside of school. I didn't do any organized sports.
Got it.
1 year, I think, when I was in junior high school, I played football as a linebacker for 1 year. And because my mom has a picture, and I remember it, I have a picture with me with the helmet on, and people were yelling at you, and I'm like, freaking yelling at me.
That's what I mean. He's too intelligent for that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
You run it.
Meatheads like me, we gotta have
That's
like
funny.
somebody yelling at us to be like, okay, he doesn't need that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was that. And then, of course, I joined Marine Corps, so I can get yelled at.
Of course, yeah.
A lot of people can't figure that one out. I'm not sure I figured it. I know why I joined Marine Corps, but so that was the path. So then, when I was in the 4th grade, dude, I played the violin.
Yeah.
The violin, the violin, the
Yeah.
cello, right? Because I wanted to do instruments. Because in New Orleans, everyone gets to march in parade.
So I don't think you know this. Like, one of the reasons why, not just because I'm personal friends with you, but I wanted you on, is because I wanted your story to be heard. We're in times where somebody needs to go, hey man, I want to be like AJ. You know, there's a kid out there that says, hey man, a brown kid, man. We were all brown, and he's gonna go, I love school.
Yeah, I don't have to fit this mold.
Yeah, I don't want to go get beat up. I tell that to my son all the time. Man.
Shane?
Yeah.
That dude is incredible.
And I tell, and I've we've nurtured him different than we did my first son. You know, and so I get it, and that's why I wanted you on, because I want people to hear that story and what behind it entails. I was a kid who moved, and I went to 9 different elementary schools, and I went to 2 different high schools.
9 schools is a lot.
Yeah, so I had to develop. I was a shy kid. I got picked on, and that's why I asked that, because when you move like that, and it's you can tell it in your personality. You're easy to talk to. I've noticed that with people that move a lot. They become more...
become social.
Yeah, become more social, you know.
So I guess it's only fair that I'll tell you, right, because like I said, you asked, how did I feel about that moving around? Well, once I got into my teenage years, I didn't like it at all. So when I was in California, I was on cloud 9. I was one of the most popular kids in the school. I had a rap group called A&R. I used to perform.
Nice.
I used to perform on stage.
So where in Orange County?
So Orange County.
Oh, Orange.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drop a beat, dude. Come on, let's do this.
No. You said drop a beat. No, it was funny.
I didn't know this. This just blew my mind right now.
I
What
love
we
it.
were listening to the other day, Sway, what was it?
Sway in the morning.
Sway in the morning,
Yeah.
and then anytime that they get someone on their
Hyenas.
podcast, yeah, the hyenas.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard that, but they drop a beat. Anybody that goes into that podcast has to.
Okay, well, that's not this podcast.
Oh yeah,
I love that though.
that's cool.
So when I was pulled out of that and I was pulled back to New Orleans, man, I was miffed. Let's just say miffed. I was not happy at all. And I got moved back to the street I left, which was called Cable Drive. And that's when it went wrong.
Oh yeah?
It went wrong, and it went wrong bad. So first off, my attitude was crap in the first place.
Because
And
you're moving, is that part of it? Because
I didn't want to leave
Yeah,
California. And don't get me wrong, I love my family in New Orleans, and I love my friends. My friends that I grew up on Cable Drive are my closest friends in the whole world. Most of them I don't consider friends at all. They're just my cousins. But man, did we get into it a lot. We got into like the real kind of fights. We had people come to Cable Drive, try to hit us with cars. My nephew almost got run over with a car because
Wait. Did you say get hit with cars?
they
Like get angry and like try to
run over us, tried to back into my nephew, hit a tree instead. There was an area behind Cable Drive called the Cutoff, and we were catching so much flack that we kind of started our own crew called the Cable Drive Posse.
Okay.
Nice.
And even to this day, KDP for life, you'll see it on Facebook. So it's a group of us. KDP.
Hey,
That's
but
awesome.
we've all been there. We all have our own little.
Yeah, that was our clique.
Hey, check it out. When I was in high school, we had the Figure 4 posse, dude.
Oh, that's what's up.
Figure 4, huh?
Figure 4.
You'll see that in a lot of my pictures. I'll be like,
That's fun.
Yeah, just like that. So and then we got into so many altercations. We were never the instigators. We
Same
never
here.
started it. They would come. The Cutoff is a whole city. Their city of kids would come to our area and come get their behinds whooped and get sent back.
I won't say what clique I was from because my mom still watches this stuff and she'll still kick my butt no matter how old I am.
But
man.
we know there was a clique. So that's the,
dude, I still think he's with the cartel. You see, he's driving around there and like,
you don't have to look at what's going on in here to get that idea.
Wow, here we go.
Yeah.
I was really enjoying your story.
Well, that's it. So it got violent, and it got violent for a little while, and then I realized as I watched my little brother kind of follow it.
How old were you there? Like during this time of
16, 17,
okay, right
15, 16,
yeah, that's a
17.
tough age. Dude.
Yeah.
That's a tough age.
As I was going into 17 years old, and I had my little girlfriend. Her name was Kimberly.
Shout out to Kimberly.
What's up, Kim?
I love it.
Hey, see, we're already going into this conversation that we said we were going to ask him about, right?
Yeah.
Do we just want to do it now, or we just let him finish the story?
We'll let him finish.
Okay,
Well,
let
the
him
story's
finish.
short, but so I realized that as I watched my little brother kind of follow that whole deal, I said, I have to do better because I didn't have a reason to be that way. My mom's not that way. My family's not that way. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go do better. So then I said, I'm going to join the military. I need to get money for college, and I needed to get the hell out of New Orleans.
It was a path.
Yeah, it was a path. I decided, okay, so which one is which? And I had been around Marines when I was in California and military types Army too. Believe me, I knew I didn't want to go anywhere near the Army. So I went to the Marine Corps. And originally I was going in for drafting. But then I wanted to go in earlier, and that wasn't available anymore. So I ended up doing communications.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
And I
That
left.
is very cool.
And then later on, my brother, he joined the Navy, and so that ultimately it worked out. Even though I asked him not to join the military, but he had kids to take care of, and he had to do what he had to do. But
So it was for the best.
oh yeah, it could have been bad.
Yeah.
No, it was bad. Where I was going, there was no survival. I'd have been dead by 19.
That's you know, but that's the challenge of life, right? I mean, especially, you know, I think all three of us have the same thing where we've grown up, and you could take a path that, you know, isn't necessarily the right path. You know what I mean?
A couple of wrong decisions, we would have been somewhere else completely.
Yeah, totally,
right. Yep.
totally different.
Yep.
You know, totally different area. So now you're in the military, right? You're
Yeah.
like big time jarhead.
Yeah,
Dude.
I don't know about big time.
Dude, you know how I knew he was a Marine?
How's
So, and I told him this
Mm-hmm.
before. Anytime he steps on the mat, like I'm expecting the, you know, full on heavy D. I'm expecting the New Orleans rap to come out and whatever. He hits his playlist, dude, and it's like rock. That's how I knew he was a jarhead, dude,
That's so
because
funny.
they're definitely the Marines listen to a little more of like a rock and roll type of sound, you know?
Yeah, we get that because so what happens when you join the Marine Corps, you get out of boot camp and you get sent into the fleet, which is, you know, you're no longer a boot and you're an actual Marine, and you get sent on deployment or wherever you're gonna go, and then you get that check, you get that paycheck. But everyone's living in a gigantic squad bay, which would be like your studio with beds lined up.
Our studio.
Our studio with beds lined up. So we go out into the studio, and so the first thing everyone does is they go buy a giant stereo.
It's the sound of the times, right?
Everyone.
That's funny.
Everyone. So now you've got 25 to 40 Marines all living in the same space, all blaring music at the same time. And eventually you find it gets this balance. So someone will play, and then it's just a natural. They'll just switch it. So that was how I got introduced to all the other music.
Dude, that's nuts.
Yeah,
That's actually
at
kind of,
first-
it's kind of beautiful.
At first, it's just like you can't hear nothing, right? And no one's ever complains or yell at each other. They just keep it and they stay in their space. But eventually, someone will hear something they like, so they'll turn theirs down and they'll listen to it.
Yeah.
And then, they'll just decide it's their turn and they'll play something when that song goes off. And then you just get the balance. So that's how I got my...
That's dope.
So
how I got my,
it's kind of the same way in sports. I was a sports kid growing up in sports, and because I have such a wide variety of music, and when you start integrating,
And you do.
and you
Yeah.
start integrating like different people into your life, the music follows.
comes. That's
Yeah,
right.
It
Yep.
definitely follows.
So that's
yeah.
how it would. So he's very wise. That's exactly how it came to be. So when I get on the mat, I'm going to have some heart pumping rock or something. I'll play hip hop, but the funny thing about the rock versus the hip hop is tends to be a little bit more family friendly.
I'm with you. I had to learn that too.
That's
the hard
interesting
way.
too,
The
right?
hard way, right?
Because, rock and roll, man. It's,
Well, it's just as dirty as anything else. They just innuendos are different.
Different. That's right. So you just don't hear it. So and then I'll mix in. So I did make different playlists, but if it's no kids on the mat and we've got adults, then I'll break out my hardcore
Nice.
hip hop because I am hip hop. That's my style. But so yeah.
So you went, you're out Marine, you come back, you start popping out kids?
It's funny.
Or were you doing that while you were a Marine?
No, I didn't do that while I was in Marine Corps.
Okay.
When I was a Marine, I was really focused. I was deployed a lot.
What did you do? If I can ask, I don't know if I can.
No, it's fine. So I originally was communications, which originally started out as a wireman, which means I was physically wiring up phones and digging trenches and putting copper in the ground.
Really?
And wiring up camps. And then I started dealing with radio. And I was, even in the Marine Corps, I was very studious, so I always asked to I want to go to this school, And it's kind of a dog and pony show. So I learned fairly quickly, if you ask, you'll probably get to go if you went already and you did well. So they want you to go to the school and come back with honors to make your
squad or
your squad or your platoon or your battalion look great.
Yeah.
So I did
That's
that.
dope.
So I figured out how to crack that. So I went to all the different schools. So eventually I got to put into what's called a 2515, which is secure digital communications. So an encrypted communication, and then they added satellite on top of that. So I did satellite, digital secure
So
communication.
you kept on learning the whole time.
The whole time. So
That's tough to do as a Marine because
it is. It's rare.
Marines can go a whole different direction. That's why when I said I was thinking of join, I would probably join the Army. Because if I were a Marine, I would have probably been just a total meathead. So that's why another thing why I love your story, because I've heard a little bit of it before.
Well, keep in mind, so I joined and went communication. The thing that they didn't tell me was the first thing that gets deployed is communications. Every deployment has to have a communications arm.
You have to set everything up, right?
Right. So what I didn't know is that I was going to be on constant deployment, and I didn't know that my life expectancy was 2.5 seconds.
Oh, geez.
Actually, it's 2.15. But so because the first thing you take out is communications.
Dude, this is insane. I just do you guys hear this? What he's saying? Right.
Yeah, that's right. So the first thing you take, I'm in, let's say I'm in Somalia, not let's say, I was in Somalia. So I'm in Somalia now, and you may have seen in these pictures. So I'm sitting there, I've got this big green helmet on hand with an antenna sticking up my back. Shoot that guy.
Yeah, that guy's setting everybody up to get here and be able to communicate to do what they got to do.
Correct. So shoot that guy. So I was that guy. But I was very good at getting communications up, so I was always being sent on deployment. I was always being sent on convoy when I was in Somalia. So
that's nuts.
So
man.
the thing about that, right, is Somalia was the worst. So where did I go? So I was in Kuwait as a civilian and as a Marine. I was in Saudi Arabia. I was in the Philippines when the volcano erupted. And then, of course, I was in Somalia. And so out of all of them, Somalia was by far the most violent. Wow. Somalia was absolutely a horror place. So there I'm fighting warlords. I preferred to fight the freaking volcano. Warlords sucked. And we're always on deployment, and we're always on convoy, and these convoys just go, they don't stop. So people would run off into the street, you just run over them, and that happened all the time. And if you kill the Somali, then you had to pay them the government had to pay them the amount of money that they would have made their lifetime. So short story, so we're driving on convoy, and apparently we hit somebody. For whatever reason, we stop, and one of the guys had one of those little click cameras. He's taking pictures. Long story short, we didn't hit that person. That kid was dead already, and they ran and dropped the dead body in the street to make it look like we hit him. The picture showed that rigor mortis had set in quite a while before, so they didn't actually get paid. But because they wanted to get the money. Yeah. Right. But that's not to say we didn't hit other people, because we totally did. Wow. And then people would fall asleep on convoy. The trucks would roll. It was just utterly. We caught a lot of, and we were always catching fire. Lots of conflict on convoy. People were always taking shots at us. And I was with Mortar T Battalion back then, and we were just, let's just say, we answered the violence with violence. When I was in Somalia, I had every time you go on deployment, you go to a war zone, you go to a place where it's going to be fire, they give you this little card. It's your rules of engagement. When I was in Saudi Arabia, it was a little white card. And essentially it said, if you get shot at, take cover. Take cover and stay covered until someone, or your commander or your platoon leader, gives you instructions to return fire and where, and then you will follow those instructions to return fire only if necessary. Right? That was the rules. So you
just had to cover until someone
says, okay, return fire. Okay.
Hope that person comes around quick.
Well, maybe they got shot. And then we say somebody else takes charge. So, but my rules of engagement when I was in Somalia was a little brown card. And I always just ad lib. It says, if you're having a bad day and that person looks like they might have thought about shooting you yesterday, shoot them.
Oh, so it was just
different,
on.
just different.
Yeah, just the violence.
Everybody was just there to do whatever.
The thing that had me upset at the time, though, was the rules I had on the first card. Well, that was an actual war. The rules for Somalia, that was a humanitarian mission.
Oh, jeez.
So that didn't make sense to my logical brain. My brain said, wait, I just did this, and I couldn't fire at all, and I can shoot these people if they look at me funny. But those people were my people. I was in Africa.
Right.
So it's okay to shoot the African.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was very young. I was 19, 20 years old. So that was very upsetting to me. And, I had different scenarios in there, right? That was the first time I was called, and I know this is the N-word, by an African. Right? It was very shocking to me. I was in a backward convoy, and he goes, And it looked like the way I remember it, it's like it was just him for a minute and no one else was there. And there's just like this light shine on him. He was like a regular Somali with the curly red hair because they were occupied by Russia. So that they have like, some of them have curly red hair. And he was just pointing at me. He's like, American N-word. Like, what? No, I'm like, but I'm not like him because N-word is only for slaves. And his people were never slaves. Damn. So it took me a while to figure that out. So that was like, so that's the type of thing that I'm dealing with in Somalia while still getting shot at, listening to Rakim.
Right, exactly.
Listening to Public Enemy, listening to EPMD, right? So, and the thing about getting shot at, and I got shot at enough. As a jarhead, you just get it. That was never an issue. Getting shot at, I know how to take cover. I know how to return cover. If I'm firing, someone's getting hit. I'm just really good at that. So and my platoon, my group, my squad, we were very trained, we were very tight. If somebody was behind me, I didn't worry about what was going on my back. And I just never had those kind of concerns. So people would say, well, weren't you scared? I'm like, no, I didn't. There wasn't even a thought. This is never. My fear button was broken until I started flipping. That's when I learned fear again.
That's so funny.
And I didn't even realize it until then. So that's another story, I guess, for another time. But so, combat and war is the worst invention of all times. Nothing worse than war. That should have never been invented, and it should be destroyed as soon. No, but war is horrible. But in the campaign, or when you're at war, that's where you are. Laser focus, see everything, respond to everything.
So when you say warlords, do you remember that movie Black Hawk Down?
Oh yeah, I just watched it.
Man, that thing is insane. Huh? Yeah. Is that Hollywood?
So people ask me, did I see Black Hawk Down? And I say yes. And they said, well, was it realistic? Did it depict what really happened? I was like, I don't know. I didn't see the movie. Yeah, I was there.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I saw it.
Right.
Yeah, so I still haven't seen the movie Black Hawk Down, so I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you what happened.
Yeah.
I can tell you when those Cobras came out of nowhere and they started circling that building. And I can tell you when they dropped that missile and when everything starts exploding, everyone starts lighting fire. And I'm out there on the side, pissed off, not even 2 football fields away, recording it with a tape recorder, pissed off like, what the hell is this? We're supposed to be a humanitarian mission. And then explosion. So I still haven't seen the movie. Is it good?
It's good. I'm not a military guy, so I like to think it puts a little bit into perspective.
I wouldn't call it good. I would call it impressive. Impressive in the sense that
how they worked as a team.
It really leaves you like for someone that's never seen combat, that's been safe at home my whole life. You look at that and you're like, these are our people going through this stuff.
Yeah,
this is insane.
It's pretty eye-opening.
It's so raw that it's just. It really blows your mind. It really
I don't watch war movies. Yeah. Anything that's similar to real war, I'll watch aliens get killed all day. That's fine. I love alien stuff. Yeah. But if it's a war movie that's similar to my wars, I have no interest.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit.
Yeah, and most combat is fairly similar. So that type of combat. I did a little bit of jungle stuff when I was in the Philippines, right? So that's jungle environment training, jungle environment fighting, and then urban warfare, which is what Somalia type stuff is, or on the move warfare, which is combat on convoy. That stuff is horrible. Urban warfare is horrible. There's death everywhere, in the building, outside the building, around the corner, in the molehill, under the ground. That's just a horrible situation. Marines tend to be very direct with their tactics. It is very destructive and it is very fast. Whereas the Army, think of the Marines. The Marines show up first, Army shows up next, Marines leave last. Marines first, Marines last. So I don't know if people realize this, but the thing about the Marines is the president, any president, can send the Marines pretty much anywhere they want without dealing with Congress so the Marines are like the president's army. But that's why the Marines are small. Because if the Marines were bigger than that, then any president could use it to start and maintain a war. So that's why we're always on deployment. So most places I landed, you guys didn't know yet. My mom had to find me once. I got in a lot of trouble for that. I was actually in Somalia. So I landed in Somalia, and I was in communications. I was in charge of phones. So I was a cool cat. I had to secure stuff that had to be air conditioned. Right? So when I wasn't on deployment, right? When I wasn't setting up a doggone satellite link and getting shot at that way, I was in my AN-TIC 42 van, air conditioned, cool, and I had the only link to communications outside of the base
to home,
right? Which is one of the reasons why I got into so much trouble. So my mom didn't know where I was, so she contacted the Red Cross. The Red Cross found me in Somalia,
nuts, dude.
And one of the commanders, I don't remember who came and got me. He was livid, and I had no idea. He's like, "Come with me, Jolivette. Come with me right now." So I come with him, and they sit me down and they put me on the phone with my mom. And she was upset, and she was
Mom,
worried.
don't play that, man. She found him in
That's pretty
Somalia.
cool. That's pretty cool.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was deployed. You didn't tell Mama nothing." I got hung up. They had my ass. You didn't tell your mother where you were going. What are you, out of your damn mind? They were livid. Because
hey, there's some moms that can't find their kids around the neighborhood. She found them in Somalia, man.
And the worst thing is the Marines are like, "Oh, we should slap you for
they
your
were pissed off. You didn't freaking tell your mom.
Why didn't you say? What? I mean, what was? Like, I don't understand. Why didn't you disclose? Hey, Mom, you know what? I love you. I'm gonna be over in such and such.
I already got in trouble for that once, dude. I don't want to get in trouble for it again.
Talk to this guy, man.
I didn't do it.
Okay, all right.
I was on deployment all the time. I was in.
That's insane to me.
But I hear him. He, it was just another day. Yeah. In other words, right? Pretty much.
I was maybe in the States for 3 months at the most. While I was just never here. I was always deployed somewhere.
Hey, listen. So switching gears a little bit. So your nickname as a child was Rabbit, correct?
It was one of.
Okay, one of, yes. But you're really more like a cat because you had 9 lives, and you're kind of down about.
I'm down 7.
Yeah,
I'm down 7.
And I want to take this opportunity because I heard a snippet of the story once. You said it on the mat to a select group of people when you were when dealing with the volcano.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that volcano tried to take me out.
You're in the Philippines, correct?
I was in the Philippines. So Mount Pinatubo, my old friend.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I didn't want to take you back there. I'm sorry, but I think that there's worth in this story.
Okay, so this is how it happened. So Marines, okay, we're fairly. Let's just say we're dumb. Okay, well, let's just say we're dumb. We don't. Our fear button gets broken pretty badly. So we used to go out into the city, Olongapo. Right, that was the city. Clark Air Force Base is what took most of the brunt of the volcano. It was closest to the volcano. So we know that the volcano was erupted. We knew it erupted. But I wanted to go out in town and party, and I wanted to. So I got into my Humvee, and I'm driving to town.
So so let me get this straight. Volcano's going.
Already erupted, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wanted to go out in town.
And there's disaster everywhere, and you want to go out.
Not yet, not disaster yet. All right, but we knew it erupted. It looks fine out here to us. So we're like, okay, volcano erupted. We hear about that.
Let's go party.
Let's go party.
Okay.
All right. So, so I'm driving my Humvee, and as I'm driving my Humvee,
you're a poor mom. I can't believe this. I just, could you imagine what he put her through?
You trying to get mom points right now?
I love you, Mom. I said that. That was the first thing I said before I said hello this morning.
Anywho, so I'm driving, and on the side of the road, first off, no one else is driving. It's just me. And everyone else is on the side of the road. They're looking up. Everybody's looking up at the sky. I'm like, well, I guess there's birds. So I just keep driving. And then eventually I realized that everyone is just standing. So I pull over and I look up at the sky. And there's a gray dot in the center of the sky. Oh, it's really high. And it looks like a dark cloud, except way grayer. And it starts rolling out on the outside of it. So from the top over, it's just rolling out. And eventually it's just like covering the sky. So that was the ash from the volcano. Shot up and started spreading, right? So that's what everyone was watching. I was like, damn, that's cool. So I got back in my Humvee and I went back in town so I can go party.
You didn't go back?
No, I got in my Humvee. I'm going party. That's what I said I was going.
Even after you saw the ashes?
He's already out of missions.
No, I was going party. So I got my Humvee, I went and parked it, and then granted, of course.
That's why we're a little more alike.
I can get into a lot of trouble for this because I wasn't supposed to take my Humvee. But anyway, so I took my Humvee, and I go out.
Hypothetically speaking, of course.
Yeah, hyperextend. So I go out and we're going party, and I go into this little. I got my little girlfriend and my friend's got his girlfriend, and we're partying in this place. This place.
How many girlfriends have we gone through already?
Well, don't worry about that. But so we go in and we're partying, and we're in a hotel room on the second floor in the back, and we're playing, we're dancing, we're having fun. And there's a little shop owner. I always talked to him. He spoke Tagalog, and I only spoke a little Tagalog. And I don't remember almost any of it. I just remember masarap and malakang pera, which means it's delicious and I don't have any money. So, so he comes, he knocks on the door, and I've never really had a conversation with him. I was just always very nice when I talked to him and say, "Hey, how you doing? It's good. Okay, I'm gonna go." So he comes banging on the door, bang, 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 bang. We're like, well, what? He's like, he's just signaling. He's not saying anything that I can understand.
Hold on a second. There was a closed door?
It's closed door.
You're in a champagne room.
Yeah, champagne room. Anyway, so
It's a champagne room.
It was a champagne room. It was just a larger hotel room for the Philippines, which is like a room. But
Gary, come on, you know this. Come on, man.
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm enjoying this.
I'm actually surprised that you're not saying anything.
because he's
enjoyed
being
this.
very respectful and listening.
You and I are talking later.
No. Hey, man, he does. I connected with him like 20 minutes ago, dude. Hey, I probably would have been in that room with him if I knew it.
It was a good time. I'm not gonna lie. It was a good time.
Oh, that's funny.
So he came to get us. So it was about, I would say it was about 12:10, 12:15. I remember around what time it was. So we said, okay, we follow him. We come out, we grab our. He made sure, he said, get your stuff. No, I'm like, okay, we gotta go. So I walk out into Armageddon. When I turned and walked through the door, it was pitch black. It was darker than midnight at 12 p.m. Wow. All the power was out. We had been running on generator, and the generator was about to go out. But the reason he came and got me was because the ash was piling up on the roofs and things were collapsing.
Oh, wow.
So
You mean like the rooftops?
So when I came back through, by the way, just to leave after this all was over, when I came back through, that whole side of the building was collapsed. So he saved my life. We would have died.
Man.
So I understand, he didn't run and leave.
Yeah, he went to go.
He came and got me just because I was polite to him properly. Understand,
Damn.
I've been very polite since then.
Yeah, it pays off.
Because clearly it pays off.
Right.
He came and got me. I don't know why. He saved my life.
That's a good life lesson there.
That is.
No idea why he saved my life. So so things were collapsing. It was chaos on the street. There was no power except for the sparkling. And I'm like, now what you don't know is I was in communications in too. So I was attached to the commander of the base. So I have communication codes. I got to get back to base.
Oh shit.
So
this turned serious real quick for you.
I got to get back to base.
Yeah.
If I don't get back to base, communications, if there's only so many of us, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know where the others are. It doesn't matter. I got to get back to base.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so let's go. So I was with my friend Paco, and he was a Marine too. But all we had was this poncho. For whatever reason, I always had a poncho. It rained a lot in the Philippines, so that's probably why. So I had the poncho. We couldn't see beyond this distance with the rain because it started to monsoon.
Oh, jeez.
The monsoon brought the ash with it. So it was raining ash.
It's like acid
heavy
rain.
ash. Ash mixed with water. So that's why it was so heavy and everything was collapsing. Because think about what these roofs look like. They're not meant to hold dirt. They're not even meant to hold anything. They're just going to collapse.
Yeah.
So everything was just falling apart.
It's literally just some protection from the sun.
That's it.
Literally
so everything was just falling apart. So him and I walk. So I put him behind me. He put the poncho over his head, and he holds the back of my back, and I held the top of the poncho over like this so I could at least see this far for when I couldn't see more than that. And we're walking. We got to walk on base. And
how far away are you?
Miles and miles away. Yeah, this is going to take a while. Okay, and slow going because we can't see. So we're walking, and the ish hit the fan because we crossed the bridge, and on bridge there's kids who used to swim in the dirty water. So we passed that, and we're about to go onto the base, and there were no Marines on guard. On the entry onto a Marine Corps base, there were none.
Oh crap!
This is a Marine Corps base.
Yeah.
Marines don't abandon their post. They were taken from it. So that means they were taken to put someplace else. So I walked right onto the base.
That is insane.
So we had no transportation. So we had to hoof it, and we had to walk. It's far, and then we got to go up this big old gigantic hill, which is the top of Communication Hill. It's just a big. We have to make it there first to the bottom of the hill. So we're walking, and I can't see shit. Can't see nothing. So I told Paco, I said, look, so there's a gate that runs along this portion. I said, I'm going to walk, and I'm going to rub my hand along the gate. I know we're going in the right direction as long as my hand's on that gate.
It's insane.
So I'm walking. I'm holding my hand. I'm walking on the gate. And you guys know this because you know about my smell. My sense of smell is so ridiculous. I can't take horrible smells. So I start to smell too much water. Like there shouldn't be, the water should be quite a ways. Or I didn't smell it when I first opened the gate. Now I smell too much water. So I was like, I said, Paco, let's instead of following the gate, let's follow the road, and the concrete. Because I don't think there's going to be any traffic. So we walk away from there. And as I walk out, in the distance, I could see like a light. Some guys had flashlights. I want to go there. But what had happened was there was a landslide, and it took the gate with it. So the gate had started to curve towards the water.
Oh man!
But the landslide had broke the ground.
You were gonna walk straight into that.
So it's a 10-foot drop at least, and there was no water. It was just gush and mush from the ash. So there's no swimming in it. So, and there's no getting out of it.
Yeah, you would have been in mud and sunk. And,
Yep.
yeah.
We'd have just fell in. There's no climbing out. There's no other place to go, and you die.
And who knows what else is going to be piling on you after that?
Right, because it's just keep coming. So if my nose wouldn't have told me something was wrong and I wouldn't have paid attention to it, that's where I'd have been. Okay, all right. So fine. Okay, second time almost dying, but we'll just count that one as second and one and a half. So I'm continuing walking on, and I'm trying to get to those people who have the flashlights. So there were merchant marines that were there. So a couple Filipino guys, dark-skinned Filipinos, which there's a difference, but as far as my understanding, because what they do and where they live. So I'm trying to get one of them to give us a flashlight. We got no light. And he's like, screw you, I'm not giving you my nothing. He's just not giving it to me. It's like, okay, Paco, let's go. And as we're walking out, one of the Filipino guys taps me on the shoulders. He goes, here, take it. He gives me a flashlight and he runs. Still don't know who he was. Again, kindness to strangers, right?
Wherever he's at, God bless him.
God bless him. And I hope he lived and has had a fruitful life. So we used that flashlight to figure out where the hell we're going now. So now we can kind of see. And we come up on this place and we realize we couldn't see. Looks like everything, the road we couldn't get past it. So we know there's a mid base, like a little base. So we see like the base there inside. So we start walking towards it. And we got the flashlight. And I hear this, down on the ground. So Marines had locked and loaded on us and was about to shoot our butt, about to shoot us. Down on the ground, put your heads down, face on the ground. We said, we're Marines, whatever, hold my badge up, my ID.
So they really can't see you either. I mean, they see something.
You just see a light,
yeah.
And he's about to fire. Because remember, there's no guards on the base, so people are coming on the base.
Yeah, trying for safety, yeah.
And all the other Marines are already in.
Yeah,
right? So my dumb behind was in a room partying. There were no other Marines showing up. So there's no reason for him to believe that there's a Marine. So he locked and loaded on us. But realized it was a Marine. He pulls us into the base. And that commander of the base just had a fit. And he's just yelling at us. And he's a captain. And I'm trying to explain to him. I was like, sir, I hear. Yes, sir, I understand. I just didn't understand. Okay, yes, sir. No, sir. Sir, I'm in communication. I'm corporal. I need to get to, I have to, no. Fine. Send me over there. When he sent me to the little area where we're going to be sleeping, which they had a generator. So there's a little guy sitting on the floor with a radio. Trying to get. I'm like, yeah, so that's the wrong frequency. You mind if I give it a shot? He's like, yeah, do you know it? I was like, so I put in the frequency. Rose, this is Lance Corporal Joe, yada. And now I hear him, Corporal Joe! Oh my God! What the hell are you? And Lisa, you're alive? I'm like, yeah, I'm alive. It's like, well, no, the commander wants to talk to you, though. Colonel. So the colonel says, oh, Corporal Joe, where are you? Hello, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here, sir. Why aren't you here? I'm like, sir, I tried to tell me. Sir, you told him who you are? Yes, sir. You told me what you do? Yes, sir. You told me you were? Yes, I did, sir. Sir, put him on the phone. So put him on the line.
Now you're getting people in trouble, man.
So they went and got the captain. They gave him. They didn't. They just said.
I'll tell you what I learned from the story.
They said, Commander wants to talk to you. We put him on. The colonel lit into him, threatened to take his rank. It was just horrid. He said, we'll get him up as soon as we can. Get him up here now. Sir, the roads are blocked. We're going to have the CBs come in. We can't get up there right now. He's like, you better... And they couldn't find... So we'll get him there first thing in the morning, sir. That's it. He didn't respond. He just hung up on him. Clear the connection. They even forgot protocol when they were talking to me. Over, none of that. It's like, oh, bro, show your life.
Because they needed you at that time.
Yeah, I have the communication codes. But I was able to communicate with them, and then I went to sleep. And then when I woke up that next morning, I've got pictures of this to show you guys. It was just gray. Trees were torn down. Everything was collapsed. You're just like, what? Is this the same place? It was just
So the volcano eruption was one thing, but then the monsoon itself just quantified the amount of damage.
That's right. So the monsoon, those rains, it would rain so heavy in the Philippines. I felt like if you didn't cover your nose, you could drown. It was just so much rain. Anyway, I survived it. But that volcano, and I got stuck out there twice, by the way.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm really happy that you survived that and all, but it kind of sucks that you got some people in trouble there. You know what I mean?
He deserves to get in trouble,
because you were in the champagne room.
So I've been listening to the story, dude, and it's pretty amazing. Universe has these weird ways. I told this to Senior a couple weeks ago. But think about all this, right? This is how I know I'm supposed to be here. Over time, you've had run-ins with death, been around major things, been corporate world, and I'm sitting in here doing a stupid podcast with Mr. AJ and Mr. Abel. So that's how I know we're supposed to be here. Something bigger is happening.
I appreciate that. I think that's awesome. I think that's great.
One, two, and we might have to bleep this. It's bigger than anything out there.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to delete.
Okay,
that.
let me. The power of women over men and partying. I mean, this guy was a disciplinary, but he still had to go in and get it. Come on.
Clearly, there was something else propelling his need or want for partying.
Hey, man, this guy's like one of the smartest people I know, but it took over. I'm just saying.
It was not the smartest move I've made in my life.
Yeah, that's just a lesson to all men.
We're gonna do some editing here.
Yeah. No, we don't, because that's hilarious.
That is kind of funny.
Because as much as I care for the guy, and he put in a bad situation, he put himself in that bad
situation. He did put himself in that situation.
It's not smart.
That's what I mean. Here's his brain, huge knowledge. What do we do? Yeah, we're gonna go have a party. Okay.
So switching gears a little bit. Thank you. By the way, thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's a very cool story. So in your training, okay, I'm fast forwarding right now. In your training through Krav Maga, you're a black belt. You're a senior instructor. You're one of the figures here that people come to see. I mean, just frankly speaking, come
to see. He's one of the only instructors I actually take class with.
Yep.
Just so you know.
Yes, sir, but you're my sensei. I come to be around.
But see, guys, for you guys at home, and then that's the beautiful thing. Just this interaction a couple seconds ago, we're all learning from each other. And AJ always says something that I never forget, and it actually always stays right in the back of my mind is who are your moving targets, right? And then this group that we have here, like this guy's training all the time. This guy brings different boxing stuff. You know, it's like anybody that's part of our group, everybody's doing something, whether it's ground, standing, everybody's learning something and bringing it back and sharing the information. And we're always growing. And when people get lazy, because I've gotten lazy, when people get lazy, you start looking at the people around you and you say, you know what? Man, I better get my stuff in gear. And even if you don't, you get people like you two. You get people like the other guys in our team and girls in our team that say, hey, let me show you this. And they do it on purpose because they want to keep you on track. They want to make sure that you don't stay stagnant. And that's the beauty of it.
One of the fun things is there's one guy who I look to when I come in, and if I haven't been training or keeping up, and it's this guy. Why? Because he never has a problem training. This guy works probably more than most of us, dude. Always doing something. But he's always in here. And then I'm like, well, I got football going on Sunday, AJ. I'll be there, I swear. Dude, but he's a buddy. And the other thing is he's the one, man. So a couple of years ago, when I started hanging around AJ, he took me flipping.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Dude,
So
I'm 270 pounds, and I did a flip.
For you guys that don't know, Mr. AJ does a lot of the. You could correct me if I'm wrong. It's called parkour.
It is called parkour.
Yeah, parkour, and including that parkour, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that he's always messing around with, and he has a lot of his equipment here. Air tramps, I think they're called. It's really cool. It's really cool to see that activity. It's we always say movement is life. And this guy does not stop moving, With that said, this is what the reason why I was saying that is to ask you this. You've mastered a certain part of Krav Maga, a big amount of information. You're very fluent in it, and you started searching for other stuff, right? You train in so many different things, and one in particular that I want to ask you about is about jiu-jitsu. What got you into looking into that direction? What kind of piqued your interest in looking for answers?
Can I add one thing?
Yep.
With the jiu-jitsu, I will go to him and be like, AJ, show me something that I haven't learned. I'll do it. He explains things. There's people. I'm taking classes. I've even done a jiu-jitsu class, but half the time I'm like, I don't get it. Every time I roll with him, I learn something. So, and he's very proficient. And that's probably the military, and I'm explaining angles and different things. So yeah. Anyways,
thank you, Sensei.
Yeah.
So I like to believe that I'm a martial artist, which means I love and enjoy all martial arts. But my primary art is Krav Maga, and that's not debatable. That's my primary art. My first was Aikido, outside Marine Corps martial arts, which is just kill and kill some more. So when we went through that process and I managed to get a black belt in Krav Maga, that's when I learned in that process what I could improve on. And Krav Maga has jiu-jitsu in it. It has ground, it has judo, it has the knife, and it has all these things. But jiu-jitsu is honestly the great equalizer. 80% of combat is going to be on the ground. You get into a fight, someone's going to end up on the ground. And you can get whooped you can get handled by someone who's skilled and is 100 pounds lighter than you and 4 inches shorter. It's just you. So I didn't want to be that person. So that was a weakness in my understanding of martial arts. There was a weakness in my game. And I said, okay, well, I have to fix it. And you and I talked, and we looked for the first place, and we decided that we're going to go to train together.
Yep. And we looked around quite a bit. We were serious about our search.
Yep, and we decided no gi because it was closer to Krav Maga. Gi is not, in my opinion, very close to Krav Maga. Of course, people have on shirts and things, but we wear shirts when we do no gi. So that's why. And I'm still very serious about it. I think it's very important. Your ground game needs to be tight and strong, not so you can stay there, so you can get the hell up from a self-defense standpoint. But it's very cerebral, it's very technique, it's very process, it's step to step. There's a lot of thinking involved. You can't just smash your way through a ground fight. And fighting multiple people on the ground,
Yep. Shout out to 10th Planet Orange County, Professor Matt Salinas, Professor Ron, Professor Ruben. Michael John. We're eternally thankful. Me personally, I haven't spent a lot of time there because it's upside down COVID world and all that, but we're definitely part of the support group there, and we're going to continue supporting in any way we can. And can't wait to get back. I actually just had shot a text over to some of the guys over there and just say, hey, just checking in on you guys and thinking about you. Yeah, man. But it's always, to me, like I said, it's always something that I loved about you is that you're always searching for knowledge. On Instagram, every now and then we send each other stuff about space and science and there's something that I really enjoy about having a friend like that is that it always makes you go on that search as well, because he's searching for something. He's searching for answers. He's searching maybe the curiosities in your brain or whatever. You're trying to search for these answers, and to me that's just it's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we get so involved in our daily lives or work or whatever that you don't have time for anything else, and his mind is so open.
You know what's fun about AJ is he always carries that Marine face right there, that face right there, right? And then when you get in something, talking about something, and he gets that face right there, that's the fun part of hanging out with AJ. Because then we get like, and for me, I'm a meathead. I always say it, I'm not the brightest, sharpest tool in the shed, but when I talk to him, he's the sharpest tool in the shed here, that's for sure. And then I bring him down to my level a little bit. We have a little fun. Yeah,
you reel him in?
Yeah, I remind him. Hey, man.
That's funny.
Just know everybody's an expert at something, right? So everyone's a genius at something, even if the genius is your genius at being you. So everyone has a genius, So whatever that is, and especially if it makes you happy and you enjoy it, do that.
So, hey, I know we're a little pressed for time, but I had to ask tech stuff because primarily I'm like your brain and tech stuff, and what's new out there? What's the cool stuff? What's the thing that you, as your profession?
First off, you run a company that you have multiple companies, but this particular topic that we're talking about, you run a company called Soho?
Yeah, Soho Network Services. Yep. And I do IT management for entertainment law firms, specifically in the entertainment realm. 90% of my clients are entertainment connected or entertainment law or law. So that's what I do. If we talk about what's new, actually one of the things that's not new but more prevalent is dangers of cybercrime. So because everyone's working from home, everyone has a laptop now that normally would not, and they have home networks that they weren't using all the time, and home networks are very vulnerable because people don't change the defaults that they got from the phone company, or they just leave it whatever it is.
You're supposed to change those?
Whoops.
No one does. And now they're working with their company information on these vulnerable networks. Yeah. So hackers are having a field day.
Wow.
So that's one thing that people really need to get control over their security. People use passwords that have their name or their address or their phone numbers or their puppy's name or their kid's name or their kid's birth.
Not supposed to have that?
1, 2, 3, 4 doesn't work. Holy crap.
4 0
000.
And they're just giving the keys to the kingdom, and these people get into your systems and they just hang out. They just listen and watch.
They just hang out. That's scary.
No, they just get in and hang out. They put stuff in and watch all your communication. They watch all your text messages. They read all your emails until they find what they want, and then they take advantage of you. So that's one thing. Of course, we got the iPhone 12 coming out, and the only big deal about that, I say, is just the 5G stuff and the battery life. And I'm not that big of a fan of that technology. It's really just, I have all the Apple stuff because my clients use it. I'm not a Apple drone, right? But the technology I need to do my job. I think one of the cooler things that just came out was Amazon, the new Amazon Echo. Apparently, they have your new Amazon Echo can come with a drone that has a camera that will fly around your house for security purposes.
What?
And will fly to distinct things, and it can hear the baby cry, you can hear the dog bark,
and it'll
go just and fly. Just get online. It's actually a real thing.
Let's talk about that though.
Ridiculous.
That is kind of cool though.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's different, man. That's scary to me a little bit, because I'm a big comic guy, and I read some of this stuff right here. It was like,
definitely in comic books. It was not possible yet.
And like I'm hearing it now, and I'm like,
but think about this. A lot of the stuff
that used to kill people.
So
I remember that episode.
Remember that episode, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. God, I wish I was making this stuff up, and I'm totally not.
So I got to play some VR here, AJ's VR.
Yeah.
I could have played that all day long.
And you did it safely on the mat. You had a whole spread.
Wasn't it great?
The only reason why I stopped because this guy started jerking around.
Yeah, just coming at you from behind.
And you know what's really funny is that I actually got video of that he doesn't know about, and we might even kind of implement it into this episode.
So I had to touch on the techie stuff because I like hearing that stuff. I go to him all the time. Hey, AJ, what do you think? Hey, you know what I heard? And that's the other reason why I want to get out of my industry, because I've been in it forever and I hate it. And it's pretty much going by the wayside. So, and I talked to him about it. So,
That's cool. We know that AJ needs to get some appointments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Mr. AJ, the stage is yours. Any messages that you want to give to our community out there or beyond? Any last thoughts that you have?
I'm a patriot, and I wasn't a patriot before I joined the Marine Corps. Right? The Marine Corps turned me into a patriot because I got to see what the rest of the world looks like, and I got to experience the reality. And for the most part, most first world countries have a bit of a misunderstanding of the safety bubble that they live in. It's very fragile, and they don't respect it a lot. And I understand I have a different set of eyes, and my gauge is different. And so a lot of the things that keep everyone caught in their own world and talking to people who have the exact same thoughts that they do without a counterpoint, and only keeping people around you who think exactly like you do, and staying with those people and staying away from the other people who don't think like you do, and having this divide will take the country out. So that is not what America is. America is about the physical connection. America is the country where every one American will run to the safety of another American without thinking about it. And that needs to be that way. I don't give a crap about nothing else. The country is about the care that everyone has for everyone else. So I don't care about anything else, but just understand that compared to what it could be, America is fantastic for what it is, as long as we keep it fantastic with each other. Nothing else matters. I'm telling you. I've been in places where everything was fantastic, and then it wasn't, and it was never going to be again. Don't let that be this place.
Amen. Well, I totally agree with that, man. How about giving your daughter or your daughters a quick shout out?
So I have 3 beautiful babies, Brittany, Ariane, and Jadzia. They're fantastic and unique in their own ways. Brittany is a counselor, Ariane is an artist, and Jade likes to uppercut her father in the face. So they are my whole life and my whole world, and they know that, and they've even said it, and I was very proud. My daughter Ariane said it recently to her friend, he's here to serve us. Yes, I'm here to serve my girls, and everything I do is to build a legacy for them, so that they'll have something to build off of, a legacy for my grandchildren and forth, so forth.
Very cool. We're not a big show like you're used to, but you have...
and we apologize for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have anything you want to promote? Anybody? Maybe your daughter's Spotify?
So, Ariane has a Spotify. She's Jan online, but just search for Ariane Jolivette. You'll get all her music. That's fantastic. Brittany's kind of more low key. My oldest, she's all about caring and taking care of people. Ariane is different in that way, right? She's out there in the world and she's very social and she's connected, whereas Brittany builds from the background and she supports from underneath. And Jade is still finding her way. Only thing I got that might be cool is I have a new thing called Tipnology. I just give really short tips on technology.
Sweet.
So, yeah, that is cool.
Just like at Tipnology, you'll see some posts here shortly. I just finished the editing for one of the videos. It's just how to use your iPhone as an Apple TV remote. That's the one that's going to be posted. Now I'm just doing stuff once a week, and they're really short, less than 3 minutes.
Very cool.
Very cool. And we'll add the
link for
the link on it. Yep.
Other than that, man, thank you for coming on. I have a ton more, but I know you got stuff going on, so I'm happy that you just were able to grace us today.
I appreciate you guys.
Very good having
really,
you.
Really giving me a hard time about all that, but I enjoyed it, and I love hanging out with you guys.
That's cool, man.
Cool.
Hey, we love you, Mr.
Cool.
AJ.
I scared AJ too, by the way.
Yeah.
I was talking about other things, and he was a little worried, but I'm a little bit more professional than that because he thinks I'm not. So
find Mr. Gary on IG.
Gary H72. Also, check out our YouTube channel on Blackbelt Collective channel. Hit subscribe, hit like, watch the videos, enjoy what we got. AJ's going to be up there soon. Also, check us out on Instagram, Gary and Abel Podcast. in the Boiler Room. This is another episode of the Boiler Room with Mr. Abel and Mr. AJ, and we're signing off.
Love you guys.
See you later.
Bye.